I thought I'd redo a video on one of the most important things of all: water. You can make it several weeks without food, as most of y'all know, but only a few days without water. You need clean water to survive. There's fewer things worse than drinking contaminated water. It can and will kill you, and it is really, really going to hurt. So, yeah, what can we do? There's the obvious. You can buy bottled water, but it can get expensive. And keep in mind, there is no such thing as 100% sterile. Nothing is 100%. That means if you leave this bottled water sitting long enough, you'll have to treat it too. If you let it sit long enough and drink it, you'll find this out the hard way. So, knowing that we're going to have to treat water anyway, what can we do? I recommend you go to restaurants and go to bakeries. Ask for empty 5-gallon containers. They usually just throw these things out anyway. You need food grade containers to store food and water. You plan on putting this stuff in your bodies. You can't just use anything. So you take your food grade container, clean them up, stack them up. The lids must be kept indoors. They have a rubber seal that can weather and weaken over time. You know, hot, cold, rain, shine, it'll wear them down. So you take your lids, store them up in a box or something, throw them in the closet. They have to be kept indoors. The buckets themselves can be clean, stacked up on top of each other so they take up less room. And you can leave them inside, outside, it doesn't really matter. Just put a bag over them and they're there when you need them. In an emergency, you can get your big old stack of 5-gallon containers, fill them up with a garden hose, or bring them inside, stick them under the bathtub faucet, fill them up to the top, take your lid, slam it on really hard. It takes a minute or two to fill these buckets up, tops. You can have hundreds of gallons of water reserves in no time. You can use bleach to purify water. It's concentrated chlorine for those of you who don't know this. You can purify it with just a little bit. I'll leave a link that'll show you how much water goes with, how much bleach. Yes, the water may taste a little bit funny, but there's a trick I learned as a kid. You can kind of get around this. You want to use charcoal, natural charcoal, not that briquette shit, no Kingsford. We're talking about the black wood left over from a campfire or when you're grilling something. If it's black, it's absorbent. It'll absorb all those impurities, the chemical taste. If it's white, it's ash, it's useless. So you treat it, then you throw the charcoal in there 8 hours or so, and there you are. But it has to be drinkable in the first place when you store it. If people see your big old stack of buckets and ask, what are you using those for? Just say you're going to use them for gardening or some bullshit like that. Stay under the radar. Learn to make rain collectors. Learn to make camp-style filters with dry grass, charcoal, and sand. Learn to make a solar still. Learn how to make an Indian well. You can take large bags and put them over a bunch of leaves. Collect condensation. Be careful when you do this. 75% of plants out there are toxic to people, so know what kind of trees you're doing this with or what kind of bushes. Wrap them up, let condensation build up in the bag. There you go. You can collect condensation in the morning. Run a clean rag over the wet grass, wring it out into one of these buckets, filter it, boil it, and there you go. You've got water. For those of you who really want to make it through a hard time, you need to learn how to find and clean water. Not only for survival, but also to barter with. Most people won't know how to do this, and they'll need it to survive. After a day or so, you'll become dehydrated, weak, unfocused, less able to function.